We're not on the title race. We're just a chill Conference League team going about our business.
Don't give me that. This is like Maresca. No, we're not in a title race. We're not it. It'd be like lifting the trophy on the bus going, it's not even a trophy. His medal, I found it. He's not trophy. He's not trophy. We're not in a title race.
I mean, City lost again, and then I listened to Pep's interview, and it's 5 minutes of gibberish.
I just hate smugly. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I actually thought it was embarrassing from Russell Martin. Leaving before the 5th goal, real embarrassment from him.
I mean, they just took it. They could lose 15 games, but losing at home to Spurs was the final straw. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, gone. Hello, and welcome to the Know the Score podcast. My name is Luke Kempner. I am joined by someone who promised not to be smug, but they're not managing it very well. It's Chelsea fan, FPL superstar, Harry Daniels. How are you, Harry?
I'm good. I'm not feeling smug at all.
You are?
We're just...
Hang on. You already said before the show, you said to me, what did you say to me? You went, oh, maybe you'll score a goal by then.
Well, that's...
Scored 3 against Monaco in the week, mate. So...
We're just...
Scored 3 open play goals against Monaco.
Yeah, we're just a chill Conference League team.
Monaco beat Barcelona, mate.
Just trying to get 3 points every week is what it is.
Oh,
that's all we're doing.
Maresca. We're not in the title race. We are not in the title race.
Yeah.
You're going to be on the open top bus parade, holding the league, just going, this is not even a title. I don't know where I found this. He's medal. I don't know. Throw it down now. We're not in the title race. You admit it. You're in the title race. I find it very annoying.
No, we're not.
I find it very annoying.
Did you hear Jackson last night after the game?
No, what did he say?
He said, oh, are we 2 points behind Liverpool?
Oh,
he said, I don't know what a title race is. We're just going to win our games.
God, it's like
true.
that guy when they were like, oh, yeah, have you heard that people have been selling drugs from this?
Yeah.
So he's like, what? God, really?
Yeah.
That's like Jackson.
And there's like the one where they say, oh, they stole 21 cars? Really? What are they going to do with 21 cars?
Do you know what annoys me? It reminds me of an Ange Postecoglou was like, because Arteta had been complaining about the referees, right? So then he goes, we don't complain about the referees, mate. You know, we just leave it to them. You know, we respect them as a profession. 2 weeks later, as a VAR goes against Spurs, he's like, we just can't have these standards in the league, mate.
Right.
It's like, you're in the Maresca, right? I'll have more respect for you. He's going, look, we are close, we are there, we try our best.
Oh.
But it's not that we are not in the title race. You know, we defend you like that, we're not in the title race.
You know, quietly going about our business.
Just behave, man. You're in the title race. Get that pressure on.
No, we don't want it.
Pressure cooker.
We're just a, lowly Conference League team, just doing our best every weekend.
If Chelsea are in the title race, then that means we're only 4 points. Arsenal are only 4 points behind Chelsea.
So is that why you want us to be in it? So then you're in it.
I think I've worked out that if you're in the title race, then we're only 4 points behind. Then we're in the title race.
No, but we're not. So it's only.
Oh,
Liverpool.
Of course, yeah. No, Maresca said we're not.
Yeah, and our whole team have said we're not. We're just doing.
Oh, it's so
thing.
boring. You're in the title race.
Outside of that, do you have a nice weekend?
No.
Oh.
I worked all of Saturday.
Okay.
Being in Les Mis.
But that's great. You loved that.
I do love that. But I was tired. And then I watched Arsenal. That was awful. And then Sunday was nice. I enjoyed the game of the week, which we'll start with.
Did you?
Well, no, I didn't enjoy it as in a spectacle.
I enjoyed parts of it.
I was very sleepy.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the end. And that's... I don't know. I didn't realise I would enjoy Man City losing like that.
I think a lot of people had a bit of a realisation that they enjoyed Manchester United winning a game of football.
Yeah.
It was weird.
That was really weird. Anyway, listen, it's been another week of strange results.
2 managers sacked.
2 managers sacked.
Whey!
I know, finally.
It's nothing like a Monday morning with a Premier League manager.
I know, they're all gone. It was like Russell Martin said at the end of it, he goes, I'm going to carry on working here until further notice. And then that further notice was...
on the bus home.
About minutes later. Do you think he gets an email? Or do you think they call him, right? And he's just like on the bus. And all the lads are just like, well, there's a few that he's argued with that aren't talking to him. And
they're all
just
going,
they're like,
you're
just come and collect your stuff, Russell.
So I actually worried about this because they announced it like an hour after the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, but it's at home.
Yeah, I thought that.
If they'd been away, he would have been sacked on the bus
So he'd
home.
just gone to the training ground.
Yeah.
Collect and be sat there and go,
No, it would have happened at the stadium, I imagine.
Oh, really?
They would have had a meeting there, I imagine. Yeah, he would have been, right, once you finish with the players, up to the boardroom you come.
He must have known it was coming.
Yeah, although I think it's really weird that they sacked him now.
No, I don't.
Do you? Like, they've been dreadful all season.
I know, but...
Why has it taken them 16 weeks to be now basically relegated?
Because they want they want some sort of chance.
But then you should have
I
sacked him
know,
5 weeks ago.
but
do
then
you know what I
maybe,
mean?
but maybe there was a hope that he's sticking to his principles. Maybe that is going to
They
actually
should have
work for
listened
us.
to any football podcast for the past 3 months.
They could have listened to Premier League Podcast of the Year 2024
by Launchpod Studios.
by Launchpod Studios, who are our producers. But essentially, we are the winner of
Really?
this.
Yeah,
So you proud of that?
very.
Nice. It's very gorgeous and very shiny. Okay, we're here for the review of Game Week 15? No,
16.
16. And we're going to start with the game of the week, which is, of course,
The Manchester
Utopia, the Manchester Derby, where heroes are made. It was so boring.
It was.
Do you not think it was so boring?
The
Did you-
first
so
half
you-
in particular was incredible.
Where did you watch this? Because obviously you were on the way to Stamford Bridge.
So I watched the first half at home,
Really?
and then the second
Where do
half.
you live? You
I
probably
live-
shouldn't tell us that on the
No.
podcast.
near
your
like
address?
near like Paddington.
Oh, right.
So like it takes me like I leave about an hour and a half before kickoff.
Mhm.
So I watched first half at home,
Yep.
which was an hour and 45 minutes of my life I didn't think I'd ever get back.
Yeah.
It was not great.
No, it was boring.
Yeah.
It was very, very boring. And Manchester City, they came out of the second half with this sort of idea of we'll hold what we've got, which is very un-Man City like. But I think they're probably so nervous. I quite enjoyed Foden's performance. I thought that's the best Foden's played this season.
It's not a high benchmark.
I know, but green shoots and all of
Green
that.
shoots.
Man City were out their entire starting back four. Because of Rico Lewis getting banned, and then Johnny Stones,
Yeah.
he still couldn't play until the end. So, but Man City, they got a bit of a lucky goal, really. Like, De Bruyne got the assist on FPL, which I do not understand. Huge deflection. And then a huge deflection, Utopia, and then Gvardiol, of course,
always
their number 9, gets a header. And they go 1-0 up. And then in the second half, they were just sort of holding on. And Man United started to come into it. Now, but before the game, Amorim comes out and says Rashford and Garnacho are left out of the squad because he doesn't like the way they dress.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the food they like.
He doesn't like the car they drive.
He doesn't like the car they drive. But it was amazing. He said, don't like the way they train. I watched them all week. And if it's not up to my, it's just like Arteta with like the fogginess standards. Like, if you're not up to the standards, then you're not in the squad. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I was surprised that they didn't even make the squad, but If it's weird if he does it and then they're back in the squad next week, because are they suddenly going to change it around in a week?
Well, but the point is that he watches them every week. Maybe they do. Maybe they go, oh, do you know what? We could have been on bench. We could have been on bench playing Man City and winning in the final minute. We could have been enjoying that. Instead, we were at home wrapping presents with the missus.
Yeah.
It's
a very bold call in a game like that. Like, it's one thing doing it in a game where you expect to win, but to
I
do
respect
it in a game
it,
like,
man.
I mean, I do. And then when you win, it's even more power to
But
you,
even
isn't
if they'd had lost, I still would have respected it, because it's just like Rashford has been under this sort of pressure for a long time now. I think, like, we first came on the scene and we saw this like young English guy and he was amazing. Like when he's at his best, he looks like prime Ronaldo, like incredible. And then all the stuff over COVID was amazing. We were like, oh my God, Rashford is not only a brilliant player, he's also the best human being in the country. Yeah. We were just like, this guy give him the key to the country, make him Prime Minister. I love Marcus Rashford. Doesn't matter who you support. And now you're like, I didn't think this guy would be like a guy that was like lazy or a guy that like didn't commit.
No.
And at one point I was like, oh, maybe Arsenal might be able to sneak in, if they're Man United, could get a Rashford. But like now, I don't know if I'd want Rashford.
Well, exactly. Does anyone want him? This is the issue. Like, there's talk of him going, and I think maybe he will. Like, if Amorim's the long-term solution to Man United, like, is there a place for Marcus Rashford in that squad? Like, Garnacho feels like he's young and he's moldable still, but I still feel like Marcus Rashford has shown it time and time again now over the past few years under different managers, that even when a new manager comes in, that it's not the fire that he needs.
I love Marcus Rashford though. I don't understand it. I mean, I remember like
he's Mr. Manchester United. Like, I can't see him playing in another shirt.
See, I can. We've had this conversation before. I can see him playing for someone else because I'm so used to that happening in the Premier League over the last sort of 10 years. I do find it weird watching Mason Mount play for Man United,
or not play for Man United,
because he's always injured. But you see it, more and more now. But I remember Rashford playing for England, sort of like 2018, and then in 2021, and you're just like, this is a guy that was like just like one of the most popular footballers in the country, and I just can't believe he's fallen from grace.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you look at the list of like breakout stars that have already done more than Manchester United than Marcus Rashford has ever done, in his career. Like, he had some great seasons, but he's never been like put in the conversations with the best in the league over that time.
And it must be an attitude thing.
Yeah.
Not my attitude. Right. Well, anyway, they came out for the second half and Man United looked better. Ahmad Diallo is so good.
Yeah.
He was really, really good in the since Amarin's come in, like, you know, whatever position he's played in, whether he's played him further up top or he's played him at wing back, he's just looked brilliant. He's so quick, he's fearless.
Yeah.
And I love to watch him.
Yeah.
And he made the difference, really, because Man United weren't that great. And then Nunes made the worst. Have you seen this? So Nunes,
the tackle.
The tackle
what is he doing?
is insane, and
I think it's slightly clever by Ahmad, because I think he sees him coming, and he's like, "I'm going to go into the box in case he does something stupid." But what is he doing? He's getting nowhere near the ball.
And you could see in his face, he was just like, "What have I done?" And then it's a penalty, and Fernandes obviously scores the penalty, and then the goal. You know, I mean, again, it's just loose defending.
It's 111 seconds between the two goals.
I thought it was 115.
Oh.
But then maybe someone said that as a joke about the 115 charges.
Probably.
But I read that and went, "Oh, shut up!" And then I was like, "That is quite funny." Yeah, but yeah, so then and then there's loose ball. Ahmad tips it over Ederson. It's a really tight angle, and Gvardiol, you still feel like could have got it off the line, but didn't.
I didn't think he wanted to put it in his own net.
Yeah, his feet got a
little bit caught,
jumbled up. So yeah, and out of nowhere, a smash and grab utopia. Drury didn't have that much to say actually. It was more just Neville going, "Oh!" There was lots of Neville. I think I wrote that in my notes. There was lots of Neville, classic Neville, doing lots of "oh." It was when the Nunes tackle came in. He went "oh," and you knew it was a penalty.
Yeah. The other thing to talk about in this game is Kyle Walker should not be playing football anymore, and he should be acting because that is disgraceful.
Well,
and
he shouldn't be acting.
Well, no.
That was awful.
Roy Keane was not happy.
Really?
At half-time, my God, he went in on him.
What is he doing?
What is he doing?
He's going down like that.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing.
You're a
That's
footballer.
embarrassing for the player. You know, you're not in the best of form. Don't be going down like that.
You've got to be focusing on your football.
You know, stand up, be a man. You're
the captain.
It was really bad. It was really bad. You know, the way that he comes. I quite like talking like Neville. It was really, really bad. The way that, because I don't really like Højlund. He's sort of like a little nuisance.
What,
like,
you don't think him doing the whole
that,
celebration when he scores a tap-in?
I didn't like him. He's quite aggressive.
Yeah.
I think if he played for Arsenal, I'd love him. But he doesn't.
We'll talk about a player like that in the Chelsea team later.
But I sort of just hated that. And then, but he does get shoved over by Walker. And then Walker going down like that, it's like, come on, man.
It's
really embarrassing.
Yeah.
And yet, like, yeah, I didn't like that
especially when your team is in such bad form and you are playing so badly.
And it's like, there's so many cameras looking.
Yeah.
Like, you have enough to make the decision of like, well, he's not really touched me. I think I'll go down. But then, like, you should also be able to think, I play in the Premier League. Like, it is going to be seen.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he got a booking. He could have got a sending off, in my opinion. But yeah, so my question was, I wonder what happens with Nunes, right? Because, so like, Mateus Nunes, who gave away the penalty, is so dumb, right? And actually, he was the one who gave the ball away for Ahmad to be in the box at all anyway. And I just wonder whether, like, in the dressing room, are they just, like, not talking to him? Do they put their arm around him and go, "Oh, don't worry
if they're
about it,
not
mate."
talking to players who have made stupid mistakes over the past month and a half, there'll be dead silence in that changing room.
There probably is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a bit harsh because, I mean, they do have actually no fit defenders. So he was playing at right back, which is just not where he should be. And it's not where he's been good for them recently. So, I mean, yeah, if they're having a go at him for one mistake.
But Bernardo Silva came out and said, like, it was saying how stupid it was.
Yeah. He was saying it's under 15s. But, like, great. Like, you haven't been perfect over the past couple of months. Like, if they were winning games and they lost one game, like, I'd get it. But, like, you could point fingers at practically every single player in that Manchester City team over the past month and a half.
What happens to City now? You know, like, Guardiola just going, I'm not good enough.
So I watched his interview after the game, about 5 minutes, and I didn't understand. Oh, I understood him. It's not a language thing, but he just spoke gibberish and nonsense.
He does that a bit
for 5 minutes, and I was like, "You've not said anything here."
I know, but he does that, and then like pundits come away and go, "Oh, isn't it great? He's so open. He's so really honest." And then you watch him and. What? Because he says his sleep's all right because he eats well.
And he said they lost, but could have been better. All right, what?
Yeah.
I could stand there and say the same things. Like, what is going to happen?
But then, what is he supposed to do? Come out and go, I can't swear, but and say it is absolute. Oh my god, what,
Oh,
we're
utopia.
useless. You can't. It was no utopia. So I don't know what he's supposed to do. It is a crisis now, though.
Villa away.
Villa away. Do you know what I think? Right, because Villa and City aren't in the cup this week, they've got a week.
Yeah.
I suspect this will be a far better Man City performance. I think if you look at all the teams, apart from Chelsea, who only have to play in the Sainsbury's League, but with all the other teams that have had to play in the Champions League, they look knackered. They look knackered, right? Liverpool look knackered. Arsenal look knackered. City look knackered. Villa look knackered.
We're just
all of them drop points.
Team. We're just chill, just going about our business. Leave us alone.
All of them look knackered, right? And the Christmas schedule is relentless. It is, and we're not even into the full Christmas schedule. Because obviously the Boxing Day, when there's 2 days between games, that's all still to come. So I think that we're going to see more shock results. Yeah. But I suspect with a week off now for Villa and City, I think we'll see a far better performance from both teams.
Well, exactly. So that's not necessarily better for City.
Well, maybe not. But
where do City go now? At what point?
They've got to go for the Champions League. They've got to go for the FA Cup, and they've got to try and get top 4.
Yeah, but
and maybe Liverpool already seem to be bottling it. Although we're not allowed to say that, only Arsenal bottle it. But they already have dropped 4 points in the last 3 games.
You really are bitter this morning.
But City, to get back into that, they've got to go an incredible run, and you just can't see it. I don't think they've got the squad to do it.
I know, but if they get to January, they're going to spend big in January.
Yeah, but that doesn't always mean
it doesn't. But at the end of the day, they're still only 3 points behind you, for example, and 7 behind us.
Yeah, that's awful.
It's not great, but they are about to enter a run where they've got Everton, Leicester, West Ham, and
good side, Everton. Very good side.
Yeah, big side.
Tough team.
Home to Everton, that's a difficult fixture.
Tough fixture.
Yeah. I just still expect them to win all those games. If they're not winning those games, then we've got real crisis.
They won't win all those games. What do you mean we've got real crisis? They've won 1 game in 11.
They're already in crisis.
It's crisis.
It's crisis.
I am not good enough. I am not good enough. Imagine his poor head's going to get very scratched, isn't it?
Good result for Manchester United. It'll be a really big boost for them, and it'll be something that they'll take into.
It is. It is. It's a good result.
Yeah.
But they didn't play very well. But, it's
the last 15 minutes they played well.
Yeah.
But that's about it. More because City fell away.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about your team then. Let's get it over and done with. Arsenal 0, Everton 0. That is 3 Premier League games now without an open play goal.
That doesn't matter.
All right. Sorry.
Why does that matter?
I don't know.
If Arsenal won the league, winning 1-0 from corners and then defending, parking the bus the entire game, I couldn't give less of a monkeys.
All right. But you did.
We scored 3 goals against Monaco in the week.
All right.
It wasn't good enough. It was, look at your little face. Right? It was frustrating, really frustrating to watch. I think the players look knackered.
Yeah.
I think...
Didn't all of Odegaard, Rice and someone else, they all got hooked to
Yeah, because they're knackered.
Yeah.
Rice played at the 6 and Partey was benched. I don't think that works. Before the game, I was like, good, glad to see Rice at 6. Yeah. And then after the game, I went, it doesn't really work there. I was really pleased that Miles Lewis-Skelly got another start. He was so good against Monaco in the week. A really, really mature performance. He's only 18. He's brilliant. I think the trouble is that in the summer, we bought Calafiori, we bought Marino, 2 players we probably didn't need. We bought Sterling on loan. That's been an absolute disaster. Enjoy that.
Yeah, I do enjoy that.
And we got Neto on loan. Yeah. We have regressed from last season. We expected Gabriel Jesus on 225 grand a week to be better. He's not better. He's awful. Right? Havertz has still an okay season, but he's not scoring enough goals.
So I'm interested to hear, because there's starting to be a little bit, feels more pressure on Havertz at the moment.
There has to be. He's one of our goal scorers.
There's 5 goals in the Prem this season.
I don't know.
Which doesn't feel like
enough. But he started the season, he was scoring every home game.
Yeah.
And in the Champions League as well, we were like, it's a great start to the season. But I think you just look back at that summer and you think, right, you spent 60, 70 mil and then you bought in a player on 125 grand a week on loan in Sterling and you haven't improved the front line.
Yeah, 5 goals for Kai Havertz. It's the same number as Harvey Barnes.
Wow.
Same number, or to be honest, it's not. Alex Iwobi has also scored the same amount.
Yeah.
5 goals.
Yeah, it's not good enough. And that's the thing is that, and now you're like, oh, well, who do Arsenal go and get in the January window? I hate the January window. You always have to overspend. Unless Arsenal want to be a big boys and go over to Newcastle and say, right, we're having Isak and we'll pay 120 million. And we're
Which
having
is what you'll have to pay for him in
January.
January.
Probably is. But if they want to do that, they won't. But if they want to do that, then we might have a chance. But at the moment, when last season we were emptying stadiums, the amount of goals we were scoring in away from home. But we're not doing that this season. And it was frustrating to watch this because it really didn't look like it was going to come unless we got a little bit lucky from a corner.
Yeah. And Everton are a very good team.
They were really well organised. And Fulham were very, very good the week before. But it's not good enough. Yeah. So it's hugely frustrating. I think the players look knackered. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
And also Pickford had a great game. You know, there was a couple of chances where, like, on another day, we're going to get to this point talking about fine margins. You know, another day that goes when Arsenal sort of escape with a 1-0 win that they deserve. You know, Everton didn't create anything.
No.
And Arsenal looked defensively really, really sound.
It had like one shot on target.
But, you know, eventually it doesn't matter. Essentially, it doesn't matter. All that I will say is that I think last season we won 2, 3, 4 games in the final minutes of games, and there's this season against Chelsea that chance that went right across the box that Trossard took. Havertz had an open goal at the end that doesn't go in, you know. And there's been a couple of other games as well this season where those things just haven't gone our way, or we've conceded last minute winners. And so that's saying that we're probably a bit lucky last year. We're now being a bit unlucky this year, but we're 4 points behind Chelsea. We're 6 points behind Liverpool. I know they've got a game in hand. It's not over, but that game was hugely frustrating because with Liverpool dropping points, you had to win.
If you keep playing like you are, you won't win the league.
No, of course not.
I think it's not over because of the points gap, but in terms of performances, you won't win the league playing like you are. And I'm going to ask a question, not because I feel I know what you'll say and I know the outcome, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I'm seeing it on Twitter and I'm seeing it on Arsenal fan forums. Are you still completely in favour of what Arteta is doing with that team?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to ask because there are people not...
It's not tactics. And I don't even blame... You know, sometimes he mucks around with the formations. I don't even blame that. Arteta is one of the best managers in Europe. Mm-hmm. Like, who would I want to replace him with?
Well, exactly.
Like, Arne Slot. Okay, Arne Slot has just come in.
I don't think he's going to go.
No, I know. But my point is that Arne Slot has... If you were looking at other managers you would want to replace him with in a dream world, I wouldn't. There's no one I would want instead. And Arne Slot has come in. And Liverpool, the vibes are great there. And they are playing well. But once you get on that confidence vibe, same with Chelsea, and we've had it for a couple of seasons, then you can really ride those vibes. And at the moment, the vibes just aren't there for Arsenal.
They've got Chelsea this weekend. We've got to go to Goodison, which I hate. I hate that fixture.
Exactly.
They're a good side. I mean, we don't need to talk...
They're not a good side.
They're a good side at doing what they did against you.
Oh, they're not. They're just frustrating as hell. They didn't try to score.
I know. Sorry, I didn't mean they're a good side, but they're a good side at doing what they did against you.
But they actually haven't been that good at doing that this season.
Well, I mean, they got battered by United, but apart from that, like, they've been all right, pretty good defensively.
Okay. I mean, they have, actually. They have.
Like, that's what they go to do in games like this. And unfortunately...
Sean Dyche ball.
Yeah. Like, if you can find a way to break them down early on in games, but the later it goes, the more they...
Sorry to interrupt, but I think that was a large part of the issue is that for the first half, Arsenal were quite passive. And it's like, I do agree. I think you've got to really hammer them because then Arsenal were knackered at the end of the game. And, you know, we had to take Odegaard off because he wasn't fit enough. And we put in Nwaneri and, Martinelli comes off for Trossard. And, like, nothing seems to be working on the left-hand side. And,
I mean, so we won't talk too much about Everton, but, I mean, it's a great point for them.
Oh, superb. And Pickford was brilliant. And, they deserved a point.
It will probably be things like this will be why they stay in the Premier League next year.
Maybe.
And they'll be able to play with their new stadium in the Premier League.
I hope so. I hope so.
It would be quite funny if they got relegated.
I don't know. I just sort of like Everton and they've got a new owner now, and I don't know much about that, but they've now got the new owner come through. So, yeah, it's a good point. Like, they didn't play well, but they lost, Dwight McNeil like before the game, and I think that's quite key for them. But yeah, like, they didn't try at all. But so what? They got a point, and good for them.
Let's move top of the table.
Good.
2 points in the past 3 weeks because one was postponed and they drew 2, but it's a nice stat. Liverpool 2, Fulham 2, which was not the way people predicted this game going.
So they have drawn 2 in a row, haven't they?
They have, because they had the Everton game postponed in the middle of that. So, I mean, they had a week and a half. Oh, no, they had Champions League midweek, but they've had a week
which
and a half.
Which they struggled in. Yeah.
So, I mean, we looked at this fixture at home with Fulham having both their first choice centre backs out and thought, well, they'll win this. Before we get into the main part of the game, there were a couple of early red card decisions. First two were to Fulham, Diop and Andreas Pereira. I think they were pretty lucky to have neither of them sent off.
Yeah, me too.
I think actually the Andreas Pereira one is worse. Diop is clearly trying to play the ball and catches him high. Andreas Pereira is nowhere near the ball and just goes straight down the back of his Achilles.
Yeah.
So, and then, it just always seems to happen in football that player that will then go and score.
Did you think the Robertson one was a sending off?
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, the thing is that it's supposed to be the reason he got sent off is because he denied a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. But he fouls him, and then he wouldn't have got the ball.
Well, this is it. Wilson has booted the ball. He's getting nowhere near.
So Wilson
it.
doesn't get the ball, and then it goes straight through to Jimenez, who tries to chip it, and he doesn't score.
Yeah.
So he got the goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, but
and did score anyway.
You haven't taken full advantage of it, is what they said.
Yeah, but
when you play advantage,
Wilson couldn't have. Because what goal scoring opportunities he stopped?
Well, I do get that.
So for me, I thought it was actually really harsh. And that's as a fan who wants to see Liverpool lose. But I just watched it and went, don't know, that just seems a bit harsh. It's a clumsy tackle.
Yeah.
And Rui Robertson, he's going to be absolutely gutted with
that.
I
suppose the question is if the tackle's not coming in, is Wilson's touch better?
Yes. But that's every tackle in a game.
Well, exactly. But then
if the other opposition weren't there,
but if there's no Robertson there, or Robertson isn't challenging him like he is, he probably doesn't boot it so far away.
If a tree falls down in a forest and no one hears it,
does it fall?
Does it actually fall?
Yes, it does. So it is a red card.
Okay,
so that's my only thought of it. I mean, we can talk a bit about Robertson because he's not been at it, and I think Liverpool fans are not happy with him over this season. He's really, really fallen off it.
Yeah, and a bit last season. So it's that means Tsimikas comes in. That's not. Is he injured?
He's injured at the moment. That's why Robertson's playing so much. It feels like a bit like the Kyle Walker thing a little bit. These two have been so important for their teams, and it's just they're both not playing well at all.
But so look, they then. They go 1-0 down. They come back with a really great ball from Salah.
I mean, what a pass.
Excellent. Gakpo,
They scored a similar, he did a great pass to Gakpo a few weeks ago.
Yeah. And then they go 2-1 down. And then Jota's come on straight away. Wonderful finish. Yeah. I think huge credit has to go to Liverpool for this. You look at other teams, naming no names, Arsenal, who have whinged and moaned about going down to 10 men and that being the reason they didn't win games. Liverpool absolutely went for it. And you wouldn't have known they had 10 men.
No.
And the Anfield crowd got right behind them. And I think to not only be a man down on 17 minutes to get a draw, but to be 2-1 down with 10 minutes to go, having played with 10 men for the entire game, to get a point is absolutely superb against a Fulham side who got a point against Arsenal. They're brilliant. Huge credit.
Yeah, I do think Fulham didn't play this out well enough as they should have done. When they were 1-0 up with an extra man on the pitch, they just were very conservative and sort of took what they want. They needed to go and try and put that second goal in early to take advantage of that man advantage that they had. And I thought Anthony Robinson had a fantastic game again.
He's brilliant.
Trent was not great defensively. Both of the goals have come down from
bought him in the team, my fantasy team.
Yeah, so did I. Both of those goals have come from him going down that side and getting in behind and putting the cross in.
Isn't that what we've been saying about him all season?
Yeah.
Why did we bring him in our fantasy teams then?
Because he's got good fixtures, including Fulham at home.
So annoying. But I think that's a great point for Liverpool. I don't think that should. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I don't. Arsenal go. Well, we can argue that. But Arsenal, you go. They dropped 2 points against a dogged. Everton, who hadn't played in 9 days, and all they've got to do is focus on that game. And Arsenal have played 2 games in that time, and came and couldn't get a win. Right, so that's usually frustrating. But I see Liverpool's, even though they've both got the same points, I think Liverpool should be really proud of that performance.
Yeah, I think
and shouldn't be disappointed at all.
Going into the game, is points dropped. After 20 minutes in the game, when they're 1-0 down with 10 men, it's a good result. So
I think it's a good result. You're not going to win every game.
Yeah, but at home to Fulham, without their 2 first-choice centre-backs, they would wanted to have won that game.
Of course. But, of course, before the game.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, so before the game.
Within the circumstances, to not go and win that game, and the way they approached it, where you've looked at teams like Arsenal who have just gone, well, we've got 10 men, we'll just have to hold on. No, you can attack teams with 10 men. And I think huge credit to him. Huge credit.
All right.
Shall we move on?
Yes, let us move on. Let's go. I mean, a big win for Newcastle.
Yeah. And a big loss
for Leicester.
For Leicester and Ruben Nistelrooy.
I mean, Newcastle were fantastic in this game, but Leicester were really not very good, particularly defensively.
It depends who you want to talk about first. I really worry for Leicester that they got rid of Steve Cooper. I know you hate Steve Cooper, but they got rid of Steve Cooper because they wanted something a bit more progressive. They obviously had Maresca last season. They bring in Van Nistelrooy. That's a bit more exciting. I think Steve Cooper would have had a far better chance of keeping Leicester up.
Well, I said this when they sacked him, that I didn't really understand sacking him and appointing someone like Rude.
And you weren't the only one.
Yeah.
So many people have said this. So what are they going to do if he does go down?
Yeah. So what they've done is they had Maresca. They went for a pragmatic manager who's not great in terms of the football, but had them 16th in the table, had them with an okay chance of staying up, weren't loving the football they were playing, had a couple of bad results, sacked him, and now I've brought in a progressive, exciting manager who's had no time to work with the players in pre-season.
Barely any experience.
And they look awful defensively. It was so much worse defensively than they did. And they look maybe slightly better going forward, not in this game, but in some of the others. But they don't look any better than they did under Steve Cooper.
And I think they got a bit lucky in the week anyway with, Vardy's goal was a huge deflection that landed to Vardy. And on that, I wouldn't be surprised, I don't know what the odds are, I've not looked at all, but of Steve Cooper being the new Southampton manager. It doesn't mean that he would keep him up, but he certainly he's got more of a chance.
Yeah.
And I think Leicester, they're going to really regret that sacking.
Do you think?
I really do, because look at what's happened with Russell Martin. You can't just go out and play exciting football when you haven't got the players.
Well, exactly. We'll talk about Russell Martin. I feel like they might not regret sacking him, but I think they'll definitely regret the appointment. So maybe they'll regret sacking him. It doesn't feel like a good swap.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe it was right to sack Steve Cooper, but I don't think Rude is going to end up being the right replacement for them in the position that they are in the table, and not giving him any time. Like throwing him into the Christmas schedule, so he's literally got no time to do anything with them, basically. So they basically train, recovery day, game, train, recovery game, for a day, train. Like, he's got no time with them. So I don't think it's going to get particularly much better for them over the next couple of weeks.
Lewis Hall was superb, and his deliveries into the box are... he's a very, very classy player.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't be surprised if... who's the England manager now? German geezer. What's he called? Tuchel.
That's the one.
I wouldn't be surprised. Lewis Hall's English, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets that starting place for England.
Yeah, he'll almost certainly be in the squad now. I think he's played really well. I'm interested to see. So Newcastle have had Botman out for like a year. Well, not quite, but he is expected back very soon. And Dan Burn has been really good for them.
Yeah.
And had some games where he's not been fantastic. He was really good in this game.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know what happens with their back four, because they've also got Trippier, who's now not getting in the lineup. I think Livramento will keep him out. Yeah. But Botman will come back in, presumably, in centre-back, which means Dan Burn drops out. Does Dan Burn go back to left-back? But then it means Lewis Hall drops out.
They wouldn't drop Lewis Hall now.
Does that mean Dan Burn drops out, or Botman doesn't get back in?
Just rotation, isn't it?
Eddie Howe doesn't do that, though.
Yeah.
And I think generally rotating attackers is one thing, but rotating centre-backs doesn't work.
Botman's a better player than Dan Burn.
Yes.
So, and also Dan Burn's... Botman's not going to come back. It's going to take him 2 or 3 months to get back to match fitness, so...
No, but that's what he's doing now.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just a side point. But yeah,
it's a good side point. Sorry to...
They were really
talking
good.
about? It'll be all right.
Alexander Isak is looking very good at the moment. He had a little blip, and then he's
well, the
scoring
thing
goals
is like, look, Callum Wilson's gone out for another 2 months.
And Pope was out.
It's such a shame for Callum Wilson, because he's such a great player, but he has really suffered with injuries. Really fantastic centre forward. But yeah, so Isak's superb, and the thing is with Newcastle, we've just seen them sort of have a result like this, and then 2 bad results. But what are they looking like fixtures going forward? Because I do think
they're playing a lot of teams around them. So they've got Ipswich away, but then they've got Villa, Man United, Spurs, and then it gets slightly easier. So a few in there which are big games for them, I'd say, and pretty, not season defining, but it will have a very big definition of how their start to the season, their first half of the season has gone. Because if they win all 3 of those, then they look really great, because they're 3 teams that they'll probably overtake if they win them all. But if they lose a couple, then they'll be still down in 11th, 12th. So a big run for them. But if they play like this, they have a good chance against all those teams.
Definitely.
Leicester, not the best from them.
No,
they need to see big improvement. They've got this weekend, it is a team with a new manager. So let's go and talk about those. Wolves Leicester is the game this weekend. Wolves won, Ipswich 2, manager sacked, head loss at full time. Before we talk about the head loss and how many game ban several of their players are likely to get, thoughts on the game?
Well, I thought that, the Wolves have been going this way for a long time. And I think that clearly, defensively just been, how many goals they conceded, it's just been awful.
Yeah.
But they've sort of survived on how well they've looked going forward. Yeah. But they didn't really look that great going forward in this game. No. And I think O'Neill probably should have gone after the West Ham game.
Yeah,
even though I don't think West Ham played that well in that Monday night game. But, that's when they should have gone.
And was just never going to get dramatically better to keep him. And it was kind of with the Ten Hag sacking that, well, what does it take? Because you're going to sack him at some point, aren't you? Yeah. He's not going to get much better. The first goal where they sort of kick it into each other and it goes in just kind of summed up Wolves at the moment. I was a bit like, oh God. That's pretty unfortunate, and there's not much you as the manager or really the players can do about that much. But they were bullied defensively.
Yeah.
I think O'Neill came out and said they'll never score goals like that again in the Premier League. Delap has bullied their defenders in a way that you just shouldn't let it happen. Then that first goal goes in. The Cunha goal is great. He's a shining star in what they're doing. But the other thing to mention is they changed their captain this week. So they've changed their captain. So they've just lost. The manager probably should have gone. They've then changed their captain to Semedo, which feels a really strange appointment. Doesn't stand out to me as a captain in that Wolves team. It feels like they've given it to him just based on longevity rather than anything else. Then they've lost this. A last-minute winner is great for Ipswich. They needed this. We've spoken about their previous results not being good enough. I think 3 losses on the bounce now for them. So for them to win this is huge. Wolves, not a good performance. Didn't create nearly enough. There were a couple of chances, like Strand Larsen had one, if they go in. But it did feel like a team, although Ipswich have lost games, a team not under pressure that much and playing with confidence against a team under a lot of pressure with very low confidence, and that told, and Ipswich came out on the win, and then we saw what we did.
Ipswich really remind me, I don't know if you said this previously, but they really remind me of Luton from last year.
Yeah, always.
That it's just like that but in the difference between Southampton and Wolves with Gary O'Neill, you do feel like McKenna is there's a clear plan there. Yeah. And they are losing games sometimes quite tightly. Yeah. It's not the absolute maulings that we've seen from Southampton and from Wolves. So, I don't think there's any chance that McKenna does, if he wants to stay there and doesn't get poached by somebody else, that he'll be there at the end of the season. They just need to sort their home form out, and then they really will have a chance of staying up. It depends now what happens with Wolves, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was there watching. I think he's favourite.
Okay. I don't mind that.
I don't mind that
either. I thought he was all right at United.
This is what I was talking about. We're talking about mystery chip with the FPL just before we started this. If I could activate it on Solskjaer, Wolves going forward, I can't. But I'd like that.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
They're without Aït-Nouri, and they may well be without Matheus Cunha now.
Yeah, well, that's because you're peddling that, because you've sold him.
Yeah. Sorry, if anyone's watching who wants to ban Cunha, that would be
I've got Cunha. I could really do with him playing next week.
But let's talk about it. They had head loss at the end of the game last week where...
Cunha nicked the bloke's glasses. Do you see that?
So he goes in. First of all, he elbows him in the back. And the back... He does. Have you seen the video?
I've seen it. It's a little barge. It's not great.
But I'm sorry, nicking another man's glasses. As someone who
wears... Oh, look. Old Specky. He's not happy. Come on, Potter.
As someone who wears glasses, that is unacceptable.
Really? I love it, though. You're disarming him straight away. Yeah, he's like this. I can't see you no more. I don't know who that guy was.
Exactly. An Ipswich member of staff.
I really liked that. It made me think Cunha's probably a bit of a laugh, nicking his glasses. That's brilliant.
It isn't, though, is it?
It's not the elbow's not... Well, it's not an elbow. It
is an elbow.
He sort of went...
He's getting banned.
He's not getting banned.
Do you think?
I hope he's not getting
Okay.
banned.
Outside of what you think is funny and whether you think what you hope for your fancy team, do you think he's going to get banned?
Yeah, I think he's getting banned.
The only thing is Jackson did it like a while ago and he slapped a Forest player on the bench and he didn't get banned.
Oh, really?
So that's why I'm like...
Plays with Chelsea, though, isn't
Well,
it?
exactly.
So they're in
Which is a, cozy conference.
PGML in their pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're just doing our thing.
I don't. He will get. He should get banned.
He stole a man's glasses.
But I think the stealing a man's glasses makes it funny.
No, it
so
doesn't.
he shouldn't. He
I
shouldn't
think
get banned.
stealing his glasses is worse than the elbow.
No, come on.
Yeah.
He should be wearing contacts anyway.
No, some of us we stick with the specs.
To be fair, like I am actually a spectacle wearer.
Well,
But
exactly. So you should be on team specs.
Yeah, but steal my glasses. I'd laugh at that.
Would you?
If I give him my glasses.
Yeah, it depends who it was. If it was your mate, if it was a randomer on the street, you
I
wouldn't.
think that's so funny. He's nicked his glasses.
All right.
I just think we've never seen that in football before.
Well, yeah, probably for a good reason.
Oh, I loved that.
But yeah, absolute head loss. Then he got sacked, and it's about time because they've been all over the place. And he was very negative about them in the like. He was basically like, I would take credit if I hadn't told them to do their jobs, but I told them to do their jobs at the corner, and they weren't in the right place. And that is like, okay, well, you are a dead man walking, and that
But
was
it's like Russell Martin's the same. He fell out with a player. I know. Sorry, I keep talking about Russell Martin. We will get to Southampton, but like the same. Slagging his players off.
Yep.
And then they're all fighting.
Yeah.
Like obviously you got to sack the manager.
Yeah, and he should have gone a few weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Now, in hindsight, he should have gone.
You were saying Wolves were great.
I know, but they have the players. But it doesn't
You were
help
wrong.
when they fight each other and the opposition
For 2 weeks in a row.
on a
they're fighting
weekly
each other.
basis. Yes, yeah, and Ain't Nori as well.
Yeah.
He got sent off.
I know.
Ain't Nori Manson high enough.
I know.
Yeah.
It turns out there are some mountains that are too high, and that is the amount of yellow cards he's got. But he actually got sent off, didn't he? He got
He
a
did
second yellow.
after. Not the only player this weekend who got second yellow after the full-time whistle.
We will get there.
We will get there. Right.
He annoys me as well.
I love him.
Stupid little kookaraya.
So bitter.
He's just like, do you know what he looks like? An annoying little dog.
You're so bitter.
He looks like an annoying
Just
little
'cause
dog.
you wish
It's
you-
like,
Just because
you're like, shut up.
just because we scored a header this weekend and you didn't.
Stupid little dog with stupid hair.
Anyway, if you are enjoying Luke's and Arsenal's general head loss at the moment, as well as the other teams, please do leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. We're about 15 subscribers from our 3,000 mark.
15?
Yeah, we
Come
can
on.
definitely get there. So, and if you're on podcast, please do rate us 5-star.
And if
We've-
Maresca was here again, it's not even a podcast. It's just two people talking.
3,000?
If people, if we don't even want 30,000. If we get 30,000, it's because people listen. But essentially, it's not a podcast.
You're so bitter today.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
great.
I'm sticking at this.
Right. The weekly question last week, football memory. Before we did that, someone saw you on TV this week.
Oh yeah.
Sweet Pea.
Sweet pea.
What's Sweet Pea?
That's Sweet pea is. It just sounded like you called me Sweet Pea then, which was quite.
I could do that as well.
That's
Sweet
no
Pea.
worry, darling. Sweet Pea is a TV show on Sky that I am in for all of about 70 seconds. But my God, it's some of the best TV acting you've ever seen in your life. I play a bit of a sleazy guy who starts chatting up a girl and offers her drugs. How did I get the role?
It's almost like
I don't know.
They saw it in you.
I don't know.
They
It
saw it
couldn't
in
be
you.
further from the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a brilliant series. If you've not seen it, it's just been commissioned series 2. I don't think my character will return. Dave, I think my character was called. But it's actually a brilliant series. And someone saw it and said, I thought I saw Luke. And yes, you did. You saw me being sweaty and offering drugs.
Oh, nice.
Thanks.
One favourite football memory from last week, which I thought was a really interesting one, because it involves a team they don't support. Anyway, Gerard dos Santos is from Honduras, and he says his favourite ever football memory was from World Cup qualification in 2010.
Oh, I love it already.
USA scored an equaliser against Costa Rica, in which point both of them didn't qualify, and it meant Honduras qualified for their first World Cup.
And they did quite well, didn't they, Honduras?
Yeah,
in the cup?
they in our group. Isn't that the year they beat us? Oh, no, it was Costa Rica.
Maybe. I just remember collecting the football stickers for
Yeah.
Honduras because I did the football stickers that year.
Yeah. I just remember, it just made me thought, well, your favourite football memory is
Yeah.
a game that your team... I
Love
know it
that.
has implications for your country.
No,
it
but I
is
love
a
that.
I
That's
love
great.
it.
Yeah.
So the question for this week.
Yeah.
Fine margins in football. We've seen
Yes.
quite a few this weekend.
Fine margins in football. Like, I just feel like there's so many things that you know that can change the course of a season,
Yeah.
and change the course of history. and it can be such fine margins. Could be a tiny little offside. Obviously I'm mainly Arsenal making this Arsenal related, but it's like you look at Arsenal Fulham. It's an inch offside for Martinelli, which means Arsenal don't drop points last week. But it did go that way, so we dropped points. And I think there's been lots of fine margins in football history. I've got a few. Have you got any?
So I didn't think of it necessarily down the same line as you.
Okay.
I thought like swinging, closing doors things that happen in football, and the big
sliding doors. You've done this before.
No,
swinging, sliding doors moment.
Sliding doors moment, right? It was when
it's a rotating doors moment.
Closing doors moment.
Utopia.
When Leno got injured for Arsenal. And Martinez then went in goal.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then because he went in goal, he finally got his opportunity. He then moved to Aston Villa because you signed Ramsdale. And then he went to Aston Villa. And then as a result, Argentina won the World Cup because of how good he was. And Messi finally won his World Cup because of Neil Mopai. So Lionel Messi, basically, for his World Cup, has Neil Mopai to thank.
Okay. That is
And of course, in that World Cup final where they won it, he made that last minute save, which took them to a penalty shootout, and they won it. So basically, Neil Mopai is the greatest thing ever to happen to Argentina.
Okay, I like that. There should be, statue of him in the middle
of him doing this.
Sao Paulo.
Yeah,
is that in Argentina?
No, in Brazil.
You should cut that bit. So
good stuff.
Yes, I like that. That's sort of more like butterfly effect.
Yes.
That is good. I mean, I was thinking more like sort of just actual moments. And I think it's good talking about Martinez because we'll get to the Villa game. He made one of the best saves I've seen ever. And then one of the worst.
Yes.
But mine was more, I'm going back like 20 years. Like we've talked about the Arsenal Invincibles. We've talked about Man United's treble winning. I'm not talking about Arsenal.
Honestly, Arsenal fans, it's just one bad result and they have to go, oh, we were invincible.
No, I'm being negative about it. I'm talking about the Man United's treble, which we've spoken about forever. And you don't even remember it, right?
When did that happen?
1999. When were you born?
I was a mere infant.
You were born 98?
Yeah.
Oh, God. And Arsenal win the 2004, the Invincibles. But in that season, Ruud van Nistelrooy misses a penalty, hits the bar in the 90th minute against Arsenal when it was 0-0. So then the Invincibles never would have been a thing.
Well, exactly. And
right? And in the treble season, in the FA Cup game, Dennis Bergkamp misses a penalty in the semi-final in the 90th minute. And then Man United go on, Giggs scores that goal, and they go on to win the treble. Yeah. And it's just things like that have been spoken about forever. Like whenever there's an Arsenal Man United game or wherever, they're still talked about now. And they so easily, by the barest of margins, could have gone another way.
Yeah. And like everyone says, is that Arsenal Invincibles the best Premier League season in ever? I mean, there are others, but like that season, Chelsea only conceded 15 goals. We only lost one game.
Yeah.
And we lost it 1-0 to a penalty. Yeah. And if we don't lose that and we win the league conceding 15 goals, that is probably the best ever Premier League.
Well, it's slightly different because Abramovich just came in and spent more money than anyone else. So
God. Right. Anyway,
it's sort of cheating.
Before Luke gets
sort of cheating then, but yeah.
Has to go and have some mouthwash because of quite how bitter he's been. Leave us your fine margins in football and the biggest...
Plucky Chelsea, eh?
Yeah.
Plucky Chelsea.
Leave it in the comments and we'll read some of them out next week.
Good old Chelsea. Finally.
Right.
All those homegrown players. Go on.
5:30 on Saturday evening. Nottingham Forest 2.
Yes.
Aston Villa 1. Potentially the best save, probably the save of the season so far, if not for the whole season.
Unbelievable.
Martinez, quite on earth how he kept that out. I don't quite know. Sort of behind him.
It's a very Martinez thing to do.
Yeah.
I'd like to save a goal like that. But yes, no. And Villa, fantastic. Elanga coming on, wasn't starting, got dropped out of the team. Hasn't sulked, just come on and won the game for him.
Yeah, they were fantastic. I said Forest were the better team in this game.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think they deserve to win the game.
Okay.
So I don't think the last goal should have stood, and I think Villa should have had a pen. I think the pull on Morgan Rogers is a penalty because it goes on for long enough and directly impedes.
But he, if you haven't seen this,
he does pull him a little bit.
He pulls him to start with.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. He holds his arm. And if you look at it, certainly in slow motion, you're like, that is enough. But he does go down. He goes down looking for the penalty.
But you have to go down.
I know. But if you're going to give the foul for that, the first, don't know who the player is. Yates.
Yeah.
The first, he pulls Rodgers pulls Yates.
Yeah.
So give that one then. And then it's not a penalty.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think it probably was. But,
Okay.
I mean, the other thing in this game, like, Villa did something. Villa dropped Watkins.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a good idea.
No.
Like,
But Duran scored.
He did score, but he didn't do much else in the game.
Do you know, I quite like Arsenal to go and try and buy Duran.
Yeah, like, he was being linked by a lot of people in the summer. Like, I don't think it works. I think he's a great impact sub, but he's not good enough to be starting for them. He doesn't do enough off the ball.
Okay.
His link-up play is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
They've also got Mings back at the moment. So they're trying this weird, like, back five formation with Luka Dean and Cash. Oh, actually, that's a bit weird as well.
Yeah.
Like, they've never done it. I don't think it massively suits them. So Forest were definitely the better team. They had more of the ball. They had more of the chances. Of course, Alanga comes on, massively changes the game. But I look at the third goal, the winning goal, and I think it's a foul.
Okay.
I just think it's a foul in the build-up. Like, he's just barged into him in his back, really. It is not clear, so I can understand why they didn't overrule it. But for that to be a deciding goal in the game, I don't think it should be given.
Okay. Where do you think Forest can finish?
I know, like, they're fourth now, and, like, clear fourth, because they've played the same number of games. They have more points than City. They've just beaten Villa, who are in 6th. Then it's Bournemouth in 7th, Fulham 8th, Brighton.
And City away to Villa next week. Anyway, I mean, obviously it's not, you don't just treat it on like one game. But
where can Forest finish? I mean, where do I think they'll finish? Where do I think they can finish? 4th.
Nah.
I don't think they will, but it's not impossible that they do.
Yeah. I mean, but this is the thing. It's
We're
like
16 games in now.
Do you think the Champions League is affecting teams more than it has done previously?
Maybe, because it's tougher.
Yeah. You can't,
and you play better. You don't have those like
Olympiacos twice.
Dead,
you don't
dead
have
rubber games. Yeah.
Sparta Prague twice.
Yeah.
So where you can just completely rotate the teams, like Chelsea have been able to do in the Conference League.
Yeah.
That wasn't a dig. It's a good thing.
It's a little dig.
So, I think it seems like it's been tougher for those teams like Villa and Arsenal, and even Liverpool. I think they just looked knackered that game in Girona. They weren't great. They still won it, but they didn't look great there, and then they looked knackered. Where teams like Forest obviously don't have Europe.
Yeah.
So maybe
I don't think they will finish 4th.
Yeah.
But I think it's possible now. We're 16 weeks into the season, 16 games into the season. They've won 8 times, drawn 4, lost 4. They have a better record than Manchester City. They are 4th for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible they finish 4th. I don't think it will. If I was putting my money on
Where do you think they'll finish?
7th or 8th? Probably. I think they'll be in Europe.
Wow.
I think they'll get a European spot.
Huge.
Because the other thing is we'll probably get 5 Champions League places next year.
Right.
Unless City crash out. But our coefficient's looking pretty good.
Wow. So then you still get 3 Europa?
2 Europa, 1 conference. So it is 8. So this year it was 7.
Oh, I see.
It's normally 7.
So you think they'll get either Europa or Conference?
I think
that's amazing.
That would be 7th or 8th for them, and I think that's probably...
This is why I really like the Conference League. Not for teams like Chelsea, but for teams like Forest and West Ham, obviously won it 2 years ago. Like Brighton getting it, because that's a good European level that then you can build from instead of them going into the Champions League and then struggling after that.
It is. For those people not wondering about the coefficient, Chelsea being in the Conference League is actually really good for English teams.
Right.
Because however far all of your teams in Europe get, it impacts your coefficient. And the better your teams do, the more likely you are to get extra Champions League places. So if, for example, if we go all the way, and let's say we get to the final or we win it, and then like other teams do well in the Champions League, chances are we're going to get a 5th Champions League spot next year.
Okay.
So 5th would get it. So if we have a team that's not quite as good in the Conference League and they get knocked out in the group stage or earlier on, it damages the rest of the teams because you might not have an extra Champions League place. So it does benefit the rest of the teams in to some extent, having a team like Chelsea or maybe, it'll be Man United or someone next year or Spurs to go and do well in that competition because of that knock-on impact. But yeah, I would say 6th or 7th, 7th or 8th, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible.
That would be incredible.
Because there's no one. I mean,
especially after nearly going down last season.
Exactly. I mean, like we say it's still bunched, right? They're 4 points above 9th. It could easily change.
It's brilliant.
But they've been fantastic. And Villa were starting a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a run. They then go and lose this. It'll be a really big game at Villa Park, at home to Man City. on Saturday.
I think with Emery having a week off with those players, now with Mings working like you were talking about, bit of a different system. Guardiola with a week as well. I think that is going to be a really, really, really fascinating game.
Yeah.
Shall we move to the Sunday games?
Let's move to the Sundays.
So we've got two to talk about. Three to talk about.
First of all, Brighton Crystal Palace, the motorway derby.
Yeah. We don't know. Is it M25 or M23?
I think it's M23.
Okay.
The commentary on this game, because it was always debate, is it actually a derby? The commentary on this game. I think they put Peter Drury on it.
Did they?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. But they said, it feels like a derby. It looks like a derby. It smells like a derby. It is a derby. And I was like...
That's good.
I was like, oh, God.
That's good. Glasner, though, man. I'm pleased for him.
Yeah, they're really turning it around. They look so good in this game.
And another striker. I'm just looking around as an Arsenal fan going, what striker could we buy? I really like Mateta.
Yeah.
He didn't score in this game, but he's just such a presence up there, and he's a really great finisher. But and Nketiah isn't. Game on, missed. But Brighton, poor man. Brighton were really bad. Really, really bad. And
they looked like a very big individual team. They looked like there were a lot of selfish players on that pitch. There were 11 very good technical players. Well, maybe not 11. There were a lot of good technical...
They haven't looked like that this season.
No.
This is so surprising.
Over the past few weeks, they've not been great.
No.
And they're starting... There's a lot of players taking extra touches, trying to do things themselves. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't look like a team playing as a collective at the moment. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Like, is it that they don't have like Welbeck in there at the moment to be a focal point? Like, is there a player missing that's driving this? Or is it just they've got a lot of individuals who are very, very good on their own, and there's just a lot of extra touches, and there's a lot of, I don't know what it is. But
Hertzler has been quite bullish over the last since the start of the season.
Yeah.
And performances like that are pretty indefensible. Like that was awful.
Defensively, they were horrendous. Lewis Dunk can go in the category with Andrew Robertson and Kyle Walker after that performance. It was
Lewis Dunn.
Yeah,
because he's done.
Yeah, they missed Joel Veltman quite a lot. Like he's the one. He's not like a world class player, but he's just very solid, and he gives a 8 out of 10 performance every week.
Yep.
And Lamptey's good going forward, but he's not great defensively, and we saw that for one of the goals. Dunk, individual errors, like the first one, just no one clearing it from a corner, but it's a good finish. Yeah, defensively they didn't do nearly enough. Palace, Sarr, fantastic performance.
Really good.
And Munoz, those two together on that right-hand side.
Munoz almost got a goal.
He did.
So that would have been his third in 3 games.
He would have done. Yeah, really starting to click now for Palace. It's taken a long time. And I saw them in the commentary. They were like, "Oh, well, it's because they were slow to start the season because they're away in Mateta was away at the World Cup." So I'm like, "Really?"
Well, I sort of said that as well.
4 months into the season now. Surely it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, but I think getting used to Elise going. Yeah. Eze got injured. Mateta had been at the World, not the World Cup, the Olympics.
The Olympics, that's the one.
I sort of do understand that, but I'm really pleased because obviously at the end of last season, Palace were fantastic when Glasner came in. And at the beginning of the season, you were looking at it, and I think even Glasner was scratching his head a bit and just been like, what has happened to my team? So it was so good at the end of last season and not so good this season. But he's absolutely turned it around. And now there's a few Palace players. Would you be tempted to dip in for Palace players for your FPL?
Yeah, I am. Munoz.
Oh.
He's suspended, though. For this weekend.
So you're
suspended against you lot. Arsenal lucky again.
Is he not suspended for the Carabao?
No. Yellow card suspensions. You only get your cup suspension. Your suspension only apply.
How you're so proud of the fact you know this, and I love it.
Suspensions only apply in the cup if it's a red card 3-game suspension.
Oh. So the yellow card suspension will be for next week against the mighty Arsenal.
Look at you, so lucky, honestly.
Oh, yeah, good,
But I'm having a look at him.
We don't score goals, mate.
What?
We don't, and he's not going to help them from corners.
Yeah, it's true. They'll bring in, I don't know. But their defence is looking like this. Mark Gahey, Lacroix, Chalobah, back three is looking Rolls Royce at the moment. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Trev.
He's Chelsea.
He's on loan.
Chelsea. Oh, is he on loan?
He's on loan. So we will get him back.
So did he go to loan at Watford? And he was at loan. Oh, so they've always been loans.
He does have a brother.
Okay.
So the one at Watford was his brother.
Okay, fine.
But yes, he will come back to us. But those three, Lacroix is so good. And he's rapid. So they look really, really good. And that's allowing the likes of Mitchell and Munoz to be better going forward.
Yeah.
And Will Hughes, who looks like he's a 60-year-old man, who my friend went to school with, I've mentioned several times, starting to build quite a good partnership in that midfield. So Palace starting to build a good system, players playing well, and Brighton are a team looking like individuals at the moment.
Yeah. Not good enough.
Second last game, just a chill Conference League team going about their business. Chelsea
Go
2,
on.
Brentford 1.
Have the floor.
Just doing nothing. Just doing nothing.
No, you were like before. You go, no, this is. I watched this game, and this is the reason we can't win the league because of the stupid things that we do.
Do I sound like that?
Yeah.
Do I really?
Exactly.
That's
like that.
not good. That.
Write in if you think Harry sounds like this.
No, please don't.
Come on,
yeah, I mean, the
Specky.
first half was like, we had 70% possession in the first half, and Brentford came in. They played their sort of back five that they do against top teams, tried to play on the break, couldn't really get out, and they basically camped on the edge of the box for the first half. And it did feel like, until we scored, that this is going to be a long game. And we're going to have to try and break them down. And eventually we did. We spent the whole game trying to cross, which I thought was really interesting game plan against a Brentford team who are generally pretty good in the air. But there were gaps, and we have a lot of these like late runners into the box. Like Cucurella, the one who scored, is pretty difficult to pick up. Like Enzo Fernandez in those positions. You've got Palmer, you've got the wingers coming in, you've got Jackson in there as well. So although, we crossing into a team like that doesn't seem sensible, there were a lot of late runners. So we finally found one, and Cucurella with a fantastic diving header.
Yeah, it's great header.
To get 1-0 up. And I was a bit like half time. I was like, I'm quite glad that I don't have to watch them camp on the edge of the box for another 45 minutes. But the second half, momentum in football is a crazy thing, and they were the much better team in the second half. We were very lucky that we went and got a second goal because they were inevitably going to score in this game. Jackson missed a big chance.
Yeah.
Norgard also missed a big chance. There were chances in this game. Luckily, Jackson then, after about 5 minutes over, so he missed a big chance. He then slipped over in the box, 1-on-1, and then put it in. Great finish by him.
It's a great finish. I think he is also very close with one that just curled round the far corner. Jackson's brilliant.
Yeah.
And it shows you that if you've got a striker that's on form, like when you create enough chances, which Chelsea really did, you've got someone that's going to finish them off. I didn't think it was Palmer's best game.
No.
But, you've talked about Jackson all season, even the end of last season. Like, we just saw him as a bit of a joke that missed all these chances, but, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he works so hard as well. There's a lot off the ball. I think the thing with Palmer is, when we play Madueke, he has to swap Enzo and Palmer around. So he plays Palmer out on the left and Enzo on the right. Because if you play Palmer next to Madueke, they basically were man down because they do the same thing.
Right, okay.
Madueke did not have a good performance.
Yeah.
And it will be Neto back in next time. Sancho played really well. Caicedo, again, really good. And then Tosin came in for Badiashile, and Tosin was really, really good. But we do silly things defensively. We let them in behind. Mbeumo finishes as he does.
It's a good finish.
And we just about hold on for the final, 7 minutes of added time after
I just watched that game and comparing it with all the other title challenges. It's just like Chelsea just riding this wave right now, and they created so many chances. They absolutely deserve to win the game. And there's just lots of good stuff to be excited about. And when you create that many chances and you're that dangerous, you deserve to win the game. That's why I think I've predicted a 0-0 next week against Everton out of hope. But if you can create that, Everton have to defend so well to avoid conceding. Yeah. And I don't see Everton scoring, so I think that's another win next week.
And then Cucurella gets sent off.
Yeah, you must be pretty annoyed at that.
It's not great. I mean, my only slight caveat to it is I think if all the games he's going to be suspended, I feel like Everton away is maybe a game that we...
Defensively, you don't need to worry so much.
Yeah. And we'll go with someone maybe we'll play an extra midfielder and we'll invert Caicedo, and that will actually push Lavia back in and stuff like that. So maybe we'll end up doing something like that, which might be okay. But it's really stupid. We've won the game. Behave yourself. So
That's what I mean. He's an annoying little dog.
Given a second yellow for having an aggressive attitude at full time. Yeah. Not quite as bad as Mateus Cunha, but a second yellow, suspended next weekend. Just when we're on this wave, just don't do
I think
stuff
it is a second yellow.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, he just gets involved in it all, and he pushes the ref.
Oh, right, fine.
And then the ref behind, he doesn't shove him, but he's just involved in it all because they're all annoyed because basically, he goes down holding his face and wins a free kick. It's clever dark arts, dark arts. And if we want to win a title, we've got to use the dark arts. It was clever to win Chelsea the free kick, and he dived for it. Didn't get booked for that. But then, like, obviously the Brentford players are wound up by it.
Yeah.
He gets involved, and I think the linesman or the referee's assistant tries to pull Cucurella away, but I think he thought it was a Brentford player. So turn around like that, and then you can see it in his face. He sort of realises he doesn't do anything particularly aggressive. He's just involved in it all, and I'm not surprised he got a second yellow.
Fine, yeah, not ideal, but. We take the 3 points.
Yep.
Everton away next weekend is a big test, I think, because that'll be probably the most difficult game for us to break down.
And you've got a little Sainsbury's League game this week.
Yes, we've got Shamrock Rovers at home on Thursday night.
Oh, God.
Nice Christmas
Get
game
the
against Shamrock.
Boys.
Yes. So, yeah, very happy with it. We're not in the title race. We are just a team going about our business.
So
anyway, Southampton 0, Spurs 5. Southampton sacked their manager. Spurs...
There's not loads to say about this because, to be honest with you, like... Southampton awful. Russell Martin, I think, is a bit of an embarrassment in this game. Like he didn't even see the 5th goal. So it's 5-0 at half time. The 4th goal, he goes down the tunnel. Yeah. He doesn't even see the 5th goal.
That's when he got sacked.
He probably did.
Up.
Yeah, exactly. He had an argument with. I wrote the name down now. I can't remember it. But he had an argument with a player. He took a player off after like 10 minutes.
Sulamana.
And and then he was having a row on the touchline. Embarrassing. That's like dog and duck pub football stuff. Yeah. Like, if you've been subbed off, get off the pitch. Yeah. So they're having a bit of a row. Tottenham were good, and it suits them, a team leaving lots and lots and lots of open spaces. But it's just embarrassing. Yeah. So, like, he had to go. I don't even think it says much about Tottenham. Like, you beat Southampton. They're awful. Yeah. That's like playing Shamrock Rovers at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're going to win 5-0.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it says that much about Spurs. We've said it all along. Like, he's playing football like your best team in the Championship, like not you're the worst team in the Premier League, and they got beat 5-0, and he cares more about himself than he does about that team.
I think his attitude, and it's similar to when what was that other guy they had? The ex-Luton manager that sort of bigged himself up.
Hasenhüttl,
No. English guy, I can't remember his name, but he really is quite arrogant, Russell Martin, and I quite liked it as sort of like he stick to his principles. If you, I think
it's stupid.
Even when he talks about Tottenham, he was talking to them a bit like he's on Monday Night Football trying to get a new job, like analysing, like, look how clever I am at analysing how well Tottenham did. Well, you didn't analyse it well enough to stop them. Yeah. It was embarrassing.
It's easy to analyse it after the game.
Yeah,
I could do that. That's why we're here.
Yeah,
and you're employed.
He deserves to lose his job, and I wonder, I'm absolutely plucking this out with no knowledge whatsoever, is they'll get Steve Cooper.
Okay. Do you know what I thought was really funny? Is it took them losing to... I think it's really strange it's taken them this long to sack him. But it took them losing to Spurs. They were like, we can lose all the other games. That's fine. Losing 5-0 at home to Spurs.
That's the final straw.
Enough is enough.
Spurs didn't have a shot on target in the second half.
Yeah.
Isn't that mad? 5-0.
Yeah, they were like, right. That's it.
Took Son off.
You can embarrass us by losing to whoever you want, but Spurs, that was too much.
Yeah, I don't. The thing is, right, until Spurs put a run together, Spurs have got Liverpool at home next week.
Yeah,
we'll get to the predictions.
Yeah,
but like, would you fancy Spurs to get a result?
No,
you wouldn't.
No.
What, the team that beat City 4-0?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna get battered.
Liverpool, they've both got so they've got Man United in the cup. Always win a trophy in my second season, mate.
Oh, mate, this is it. They're going to win the Carabao Cup, mate.
That's going to be an interesting game.
Oh, well. This could be his trophy.
And Liverpool will have Southampton with a new manager, maybe. I don't think they'll get a new manager before Wednesday.
Probably not. If it's not happened now. I'm literally just checking, and I'm also checking if anyone's been banned or anything that we've spoken about.
Oh, no. Yeah, you peddling that. Cunha needs to be banned.
Yeah.
Should we do our predictions?
Let's do predictions. Let's do FPL very briefly.
Oh, yes.
Not the best week for me. Ain't no mountain high enough. Got sent off. I bought in Trent this week. I Captain Palmer. I did have Cunha.
You Captain Palmer?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Finally. I've gained some points on you.
I still got some menu to play tonight.
I've still got some menu to play. So before you start looking at the points, still got some menu. I've got 53 and you've got 45.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 50 points.
I've already made 2 transfers.
Yeah, that's a money thing, isn't it, right?
Yeah, well, I couldn't do them if I tried to do it now.
Okay, so what have you bought in?
So I sold Semenyo and I bought Enzo.
Right.
And I sold Cunha and I bought Isak.
Yeah.
And I now have triple Chelsea attack.
That's right.
all of them
I've got that.
So all of them are good individually.
Yeah.
But having 3 from the same team does feel a little bit weird.
Yeah, but like they all got well, Palmer didn't, but Palmer is always going to get points.
Enzo got 5 this week. Like it is fine. Like, and I'm happy with them all individually, but I am looking at it a bit like that's a bit weird.
Yeah, I've got it. I bought in Enzo this week and I sold Mboamo and I sold Mikalenko, which I actually regretted even before he got the clean sheet.
Guess
because
what? He's last on my bench.
Yeah.
So I've had Mikalenko over the past 6 weeks. I've needed him twice. One, his game got cancelled, and the other one he scored -1.
Yeah.
And the other 4 weeks combined, he's scored 28 points. All on my bench.
I probably should have sold Rico Lewis, but I could money-wise, I was like, I can sell Mikalenko, and I don't want Mikalenko in my team, but I actually think that's really stupid now. Yeah. So now I've got Rico Lewis, and I don't want to play him away at Villa. No. So I don't know. I think I made a bit of a dumb decision there. But I realised that, it's that thing of like over the Christmas period, this is when you can gain points on the casuals, right? Both times when there's been early fixtures that I've watched so much stuff, looked at the stats. Again, if I'd have just forgotten to do my team, I'd have 16 extra points.
Yeah, good. Probably would have had the same.
So annoying.
Glad I bought Trent. Anyway, predictions for this week. Last week's, we currently have 1 game to play. Rido19 is top with 10.5. Then we have Ida Hertz Gudjonsson, who actually won last week's, currently in second place with 9 points. And then Danny FPL also on 9. So if you are one of those two in second or third, you're 1.5 points behind. So you might want to predict a bit of a surprise result maybe to try and
change it. Yeah,
surprise result to try and get top spot if you change it before the game kicks off tonight. Predictions for next weekend. First off, Aston Villa at home to Manchester City in the early kickoff. Desmond
2-2.
You've also gone 2-2.
I have, yeah. Brentford versus Nottingham Forest.
2-1 Brentford.
3-1 Brentford.
Brentford at home. G-Tech.
It's the
goals.
It's the fun house.
It is the fun house.
Right, Ipswich versus Newcastle.
2-1 away win.
3-1 away win.
Okay.
You're quite conservative, but we've both gone for the same results every time. West Ham Brighton.
1-2.
2-2. All the same results so far.
Same results. Crystal Palace Arsenal.
We should do an accumulator.
We should.
We're going to win.
Not.
Crystal Palace versus Arsenal.
There's no way you've predicted this.
3-1 Arsenal.
Who's scoring 3 goals for you? Are they all set pieces? I've gone 1-0 Arsenal.
Such a snivelling little Chelsea fan.
1-0 Arsenal.
1-0 Arsenal. Same result. Everton Chelsea.
1-0.
0-0.
Same result.
Hope. Yeah, same result again. Fulham Southampton.
2-0 Fulham.
I've gone 3-2. I think the new manager bounce.
Yeah.
I don't know what I've said to you, but I've gone 3-2.
Okay. Leicester Wolves.
3-1 to Wolves.
2-0 Leicester.
Really? That's the only one we've differed so
far.
I
think Cunha's going to be suspended.
Oh, you're hoping, you're pushing, you're peddling that narrative. Man United Bournemouth.
2-1.
2-1.
There's no way you predicted this as well.
Tottenham versus Liverpool.
Yeah.
3-2 to Tottenham.
3-1 Liverpool.
3-2 to Tottenham.
No
Liverpool
way.
got a lot of players out, as of Tottenham.
We're going to need some exact results to make the difference between us this weekend because we've got a lot of the same result. But
yeah, we don't usually do that.
No.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a fun game. Tottenham are fun.
Yeah.
They're banter.
Yeah, and this will be another one.
I really hope Chelsea drop points.
I've got them dropping points.
Oh, yeah, 1-1. But it doesn't matter, you're not in the title race.
No, we're not.
So it just keeps you in the top 4 race.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all you're in.
And we've got City dropping points. We've got Forest dropping points. So
it's all good for the top 4 race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spurs dropping points. It's all good for us.
They're not in the top 4 race. Guys, thank you so much for joining us again this week. We're hoping to get to 3,000 subscribers. Surely we will. Surely. We're the award winners. So thank you for that. And thank you for all your comments. Please send us in your fine margins, your butterfly effect moments. And we'll read some of those out next week. Good luck with your fantasy teams. Good luck with your predictions. Not good luck to Chelsea. And have a lovely week, Harry. And
this will be our last week in the studio until New Year, probably.
Yes, and I'm not here next week.
No. So
you're going to have a guest.
I haven't got that yet.
You're finally going to get someone that knows what they're talking about. Finally. For the first time on this podcast.
Yeah.
Now we're award winners.
Exactly.
Have a lovely week, mate.
And you.
And I will see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.